And that is because John Lott, the author of More Guns, Less Crime and so many other great books, and former chief economist at the U.S. Sentencing Commission, joins us to talk. Welcome, John. How are you?
Oh, great to talk to you again, Steve.
Well, my pleasure. To talk about the fact that by an overwhelming 2-to-1 vote, the North Carolina State House passed a bill allowing permitted concealed handguns on college campuses. And this is big because, the shootings that take places in so many locations, but specifically the ones that have occurred at colleges, these shooters know that they're gun-free zones for the most part.
Oh, that's exactly right. I mean, you look at all the multiple victim public shootings since at least 1950 in the U.S., with just 2 exceptions, have all occurred in places where guns are banned. You just take something like the Aurora, Colorado shooting last summer, where you had 7 movie theaters within a 20-minute drive of the killer's apartment that were showing the premiere of the Batman movie. He didn't go to the movie theater that was closest to his home. He didn't go to the one that had the largest auditoriums in the state, which you think would be attractive on a premiere night if somebody wanted to go and have as many possible victims as possible. Instead, he went to the only movie theater that posted signs banning concealed carry permit guns there, the only one that prevented victims from being able to defend themselves. And it's something you just see time after time occurring.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, the question is, and you've set the likes of Pierce Morgan straight and everybody else, but the question is, will this become a trend? And let me ask you this: you know better than I, because I'm stuck here in the the Northeast, the la la land of the East, where people keep saying, well, if you let people carry weapons, it's turn into the OK Corral. And of course, in a majority of jurisdictions in this nation, people have a right to carry. So, what's it like on college campuses around the country? Are most college campuses in line with the rest of the country, where there is a right to carry, or are most college campuses around the country gun-free? And do you think this start a trend or be part of a trend that will lead to more carry rights on campus?
Well, I think there is a trend right now. Most colleges don't allow by far. I mean, there are 5 states that basically mandate that if you have a concealed handgun permit, that you should be allowed to carry on public university property. And then there's another 24 states that leave it up to the schools. The vast majority of those schools, though, don't allow people to carry. But this isn't something that's been in stone forever. You go back to the early 90s or before, in states that had concealed carry laws, the universities at that time used to let people carry guns on school property. And it's not just universities. K through 12 also. You look at the Newtown shooting. It was only when we had the Federal Safe School Zone Act being passed in '95 that Connecticut stopped allowing people to be able to carry permanent concealed handguns on K through 12 school property. So, and you can go and look the types of concerns that you raise. There weren't these shootouts. There's in fact, you can't find any problems with concealed carry permit holders either in the past when a lot of states used to allow it, or now when you have the 5 states or the other individual schools. I can't, and nobody's pointed to me, one single example of a permit holder causing a problem in one of these schools where they're allowed to carry their handguns. And so, it's pretty. Rather than speculating, we can go and look at the data to see how people actually behave.
Right. No, let me ask you this. We're talking to John Lott here on the Steve Malzberg Show. As you're well aware, a couple of weeks ago, Justice Department figures were released that showed, if my numbers are right in my head, over the last 20 years, talking about gun crimes and gun deaths, crimes involving guns that lead to death. The non-lethal gun crimes were down in this country by 69%, and gun crimes leading to death were down by 39%. And of course, this flies in the face of everything that the left and the, I feel sorry for them. My heart breaks for them. The parents from the Newtown and the other gun violence victims' parents who have been making the rounds on TV and standing behind the president and lobbying the Congress. This flies in the face of everything they want us to believe. In fact, Pew did a survey. Only 12% of Americans thought that gun violence had gone down in the last 20 years. It's gone down, like I said, 69 and 39 respectively for non-deaths and for deaths, which is unbelievable.
Right. Well, you just look at the change in concealed handgun permits. I don't have data before '96,
but they've gone up, right?
It's dramatic. Yes. In '96, you had about 1.5 million concealed carry permit holders in the United States. By 2008, we had about 5.5 million, and now we have over 9.3 million.
So that's more guns, less crime.
It seems like it goes that way. I mean, I don't want to go and just use a national trend like that, but if you look across the states, you find that the states that have had the biggest issuance in permits have seen the biggest drops in violent crime.
Yeah, no, well, that's been established prior. Yeah, and you're right. It's you can't jump to that on a national level without doing the statistical research. But it's funny that CBS News did this on the CBS Evening News. They read a 30-second story to their credit on these statistics. But I haven't seen it anywhere else, and you're not going to see it. You're not going to hear it talked about. It's never going to be mentioned by Dianne Feinstein or Barack Obama or Joe Biden or anyone on the left because it flies in the face of everything that they're trying to push.
No, but I mean, I think most people have at least some idea, particularly maybe not over the last 20 years, but they have a good idea over the last 4 or 5 years about how gun sales and gun ownership's increased. And they can see just over that period of time we've had a nice drop in murder rates and violent crimes over the last 4 or 5 years. And, it hardly goes in the direction that people would be predicting given the huge increase in gun sales. And, I would argue it's maybe an unintentional effect of the Obama administration because he's had a lot to do with both the increase in concealed handgun permits unintentionally,
right,
as well as gun sales.
Well, let me ask you this: how concerned are you? And I know you're a statistician and you work on facts, but let me ask you your opinion on this if you're willing to give it. I have this, and I'm not alone, this really sick, frustrating feeling in my stomach that the buying up of the ammunition by Homeland Security is Barack Obama's idea, or someone came to him with the idea and he said, absolutely. You infringing upon the Second Amendment, he sees he can't do that too easily through Congress or through any type of executive order, but someone figured out there's no law against buying up all the ammunition with government money, and they're doing a good job to get that done. Does that trouble you?
Well, I mean, there's some unanswered questions. I mean, I would like to know why they have to have more ammunition than soldiers in the military do to train. But look, I think we'd be having shortages right now in any case simply because you just look at the huge increase in gun sales. Back in October last year, you were talking about 1.5 million NICS checks, background checks that were done across the country. By December, there were 2.7 million. By far the highest we'd ever seen. We'd never been over 2 million until November of last year. And so, you have this huge increase in gun sales in just a couple months there, and it's been remaining high so far this year. And it's not too surprising to me that at the same time you have this big increase in gun sales, you're going to have an increase in purchases of ammunition. And, the different regulations that Obama's been pushing, he's been very involved in a lot of these state laws. In Maryland, it costs about $350 now to go and license and register a handgun in the state. Well, I'm not too surprised that a lot of people would rush out and try to buy guns before a lot of these taxes and regulations would go into effect, and the same's true with other states. In New York, for example, to go and buy ammunition, you have to go and get a background check and go through a dealer, and that's an $85 flat fee basically now. So that's like a huge tax.
Yeah, absolutely.
if you're going to go and buy ammunition, you're going to buy a lot just to kind of spread out that tax. You're not going to go and buy one box each time you go in if you have to pay $85.
No, you make very, very, very good points. John, I thank you, sir, as always. We appreciate your input.
Well, thanks for the job you do.
Thank you. Take care. All right, that's John Lott, ladies and gentlemen.